Hello, one and all. This is my absolutely favorite time. It is the beginning of a brand new journey in Football Manager 24, one that I have never undertaken before. Welcome in to Cellophane FM. If you've never been here before, I'm Mr. Cellophane. How are you? Our manager is Amos Hart, and we are taking over at newly promoted Rushall Olympic in the Vanarama National League North. But Amos Hart is not going to be the main attraction of this story because he has just been hired not as the manager, but as the head coach, which means he will be taking care of all of the on-field stuff and maintaining that harmony in the locker room with the players that he has at his disposal. However, we will not be making any of our own transfers. We will not be making any of our own roster decisions. We are leaving that in the hands of our very capable, and I use that term very loosely, Director of Football. But before we introduce you to the man himself, let's take a look at what our club objectives are this year. We are to avoid relegation from the Vanarama North, because if we get relegated, well, the save is over, and I don't want that to happen in Season 1. We also need to be competitive in the FA Cup and the FA Trophy. We only have a one-year deal here at Rushall Olympic, so we need to make the best of it. Now, if we are able to hang on to our job, they want us to become an established Vanarama North team throughout the rest of eternity. Meanwhile, as far as the supporters are concerned, they just want us to remain in the league. And if we happen to play our rivals in Hednesford and Chasetown, well, they want us to beat them. I don't know if that is ever going to happen. I've never heard of either of those teams. Now, we are going to get to the man of the hour as soon as we hire him. Rushall Olympic does not start off with a director of football, so we have begun that process. And once we get somebody in-house, I will be happy to introduce him to you. Meanwhile, this is our squad, so he's going to have quite a bit of work to do. There are currently only 19 players. Now, we've got a whole ton of 15 and 16-year-olds, and I think there's a 17-year-old as well in our youth sides, but we do not have a ton to work with. So, and some of these guys are out on loan, and some of them are in on loan. One of those who is in on loan is Ronan Meyer. He's on loan from another local team here in Walsall. He's an 18-year-old Irishman. He is a central midfielder primarily. In fact, he is a natural center attacking midfielder, and he looks like a pretty good one for this level. Having just played a save in the second tier of Germany, have to kind of rejigger my factoring in on how good a player is. Decent amount of pace, decent agility. His physicals are all pretty much there. His jumping reach, though, isn't fantastic. He is only 5'7", however. Good dribbling ability, good technique, a ton of flair, and a nice level of determination, teamwork, and work rate. I like a lot about his mentals. He is most likely going to factor in on the team. I haven't figured out how we're going to set things up just yet. Callum Sullivan is also in on loan. He's in from Birmingham, another 18-year-old, this one from England. He's natural as both a left and a right back, so he's versatile on either side, although his left foot is a bit on the weaker side, so I'm not quite sure exactly how he will factor in. He's okay defensively. He's also works very hard. He's a good teammate, decent amount of stamina. His pace, acceleration are all okay. He's very middle of the road as far as attributes are concerned, but it puts him in the slightly upper echelon here in the Vanarama National League North. He's potentially rated by our staff as a League One standard player. Haven't really even looked at the staff yet, so I don't know if I can trust their opinions just yet. Who else is on the squad? Sam Mantom is 31 years old, and he is actually contracted to us. He is a natural ball-winning midfielder. Pretty decent defensively. Again, middle of the road with the pace, but good amount of fitness. His teamwork, work rate are up there. Above average, we are going to say, for a player throughout all of England. So Pretty good for us. Pretty strong right foot. He can also play in the DM position. He can play as a cam. He could even play out on the wings, but he's kind of unconvincing there. Sam McClintock is currently out of contract, but still with the team. 22 years old, a natural center midfielder and attacking center midfielder. It seems like the midfield, we have that on lock right now. Again, good fitness, stands at 5'10", passing vision are all above average, nice determination, good amount of flair, dribbling is okay as well. Who else is there? Alex Moore, 26-year-old Englishman, contracted to the team. Naturally, again, a center midfielder. He leans a little bit more towards the defensive side, good tackling ability. Again, I love the work rate. Some of the mentals on this team are actually pretty top-notch. He stands at 6 foot, kind of like him. Again, fair to middling with the agility, pace, good stamina, though. His strength is okay. I think he may be workable back there. And everything I say right now does come with a grain of salt, because who knows, once our director of football is in-house, if he is going to clean house, add to these guys, or just completely start fresh. I don't know. That's part of the joy of the save. Mitch Clark is a center back. In fact, he is our best center back. Well, maybe Jordan Brown. We'll get a look at him in just a moment. Good strength, decent in the air, good heading ability, stands at 6'1". Kind of like him. I'm fairly certain he is going to make our starting lineup. Another right back. This one is 32-year-old Christian Green. Passing's okay as crossing ability. I don't love the way that he dribbles, so he's a little bit more defensively minded. Good marking, good tackling. Only 5'9", makes me a little nervous, but he is currently wearing the captain's armband. Now we get to Jordan Brown, who we were talking about a little bit earlier. 31 years old, 6'2", good in the air, good with his head. He loves the big matches. He is a consistent player, but he is also a fringe player in his prime years, making 120 a week, which seems to be about what we're earning here. Although Ronan Meyer making 400 a week, that's going to be interesting. Jaden Charles, also out of contract, 21 years old. This one is a left back. This gentleman is a left back. 5'10", marking, tackling, okay, decent amount of technique. His crossing and dribbling is pretty good, so he's probably more offensive-minded, since his favorite role is a complete wingback on support. Then my initial analysis of him appears to be dead on. Callum Rowe is out on loan to Redditch. He's 23 years old, yet another midfielder, yet another DM. Yet another guy who's kind of middle of the road, 5'10", okay with the marking, he's a little better at tackling, his positioning is all right, work rate's okay, good determination, I like that, lacking a little bit in decision making and composure. Hopefully he learns a few things while he is out on loan. Our goalkeeper is 26-year-old Jake Weaver, and he's decent. Arrow reach handling, one-on-ones, reflexes, all 10s, jumping reach 10. Pretty middle of the road as far as goalkeepers are concerned. Hopefully our new DoF will bring in, if not a new starting goalkeeper, then a backup goalkeeper, because as I look at the squad comparison, down in the corner, we don't really have a lot behind Jake Weaver, but at 6'2", I kind of like him as my keeper. Jordan Masidi from the Democratic Republic of Congo, 25 years old. He works primarily on that right-hand side. He is natural in a number of positions, left wing back, and left back. He's not really the greatest defensive player. He's 5'8". He's got an okay amount of speed, good fitness though, good stamina, so he really can work his way up and down those lines. His crossing ability isn't too bad. He could use a little work on dribbling and first touch, but really at this level, who can't? Callum Coyle, 24-year-old Englishman, contracted to the team. He is a central midfielder, although he is a natural left wing. Could be a playmaker out there. Passing and vision are pretty good. Decent off the ball. Great decision making. I love to see that in a potential playmaker candidate. He's also very consistent. He's got a ton of potential, even though our staff only thinks he's a leading Trident League player. Step 3, I don't even know what that means. Which level is the Trident Leagues? Let me know down in the comments. How far below the Vanarama National League North are the Trident Leagues? He does not enjoy big matches, however. That could be a problem. In fact, he dreads them. Luckily, there probably aren't going to be a ton of big matches that we're going to need to play at this level. More midfielders, 5'9", 26-year-old Alex Fletcher. He's a decent player, probably 4th or 5th on our depth chart. Made 36 appearances for the club overall in his career over the last couple of years. Has scored 5 goals. Could see some time, especially if we are going to play a very midfield-heavy rotation. And if any of the guys who are not currently in contract aren't sticking around the club. Tyrell Hamilton, 23-year-old striker. We came all the way down this far down the list before we hit our first true striker, although Ronan Meyer might be able to play in this position. He does have a lot of potential. He could still improve, but at 23, how much is he really going to be improving? I don't know. He hasn't played a senior match since he was at Alva Church, made 66 appearances there, did score 18 goals. He has done nothing so far for Rushall. His finishing isn't great, but it's something we can probably work on. Stands at 5'11", can kind of get in the air for someone of his more diminutive stature. Also, as a striker, even though he can play a bunch of other positions, is 29-year-old Andre Landell. Fairly determined personality. I like that. 13 finishing. I love that. He loves the poacher role. One that I haven't really played a ton in Football Manager. That may factor in as we move forward. Maybe Andre Landell is going to be our starting striker. I'm starting to get a general idea of how we're going to handle this team tactically, but I've not yet made any decisions. We've got 2 more strikers coming up, although one of them is out on loan. The one who is still at the club right now is Rakeem Reed. He's 28 years old, English, no caps. Not that that's a surprise at all. And technically speaking, he's not a great player. What he can do is be pretty physical. He's 6 foot, decent amount of strength, good stamina, good fitness, pace, acceleration are all okay. His balance could use a little work. Good decision-making, teamwork, work rate. We're noticing a common theme amongst this team. Alex Cameron, a 23-year-old English striker, is out on loan at Redditch. He's not going to factor in unless our DoF decides to bring him back. Naturally a poacher, he can finish. He's got some pace and acceleration to him as well, a decent amount of strength. His technique, though, isn't the greatest. Most of his technical abilities and a lot of the mentals really aren't where I'd like them to be. 3 concentration, yeah, no thanks. And finally, 25-year-old Tom Edge. Guess what? He is a natural central midfielder. Decent defensively, 8 for marking and tackling. Again, the work rate, aggression levels, teamwork, all excellent. Decent amount of passing, although his vision could use a little bit of work. He's fair to middling as far as his speed is concerned, but has got some pace. He's a potential leader as well, leadership of 10. I'm not sure where that necessarily ranks on our list, but there are our 19 players minus the 2 that are out on loan. So 17 guys to work with. Our director of football is going to have a lot of work to do when and if he ever arrives. Well, I fully understand that this team right now is a very unfinished product. We have to put something together for the preseason, and we can't move on until we have determined a tactical way of life. So what better way than to use the talents we have on the team than by going with a good old 4-4-2. Now, Ronan Meyer is going to be leading the line as our attacking forward. We're going to be playing with a pressing forward as well. Andre Landell, we already talked about him being perfect for that role. It's going to be Jaden Charles and Sam McClintock out on our more attacking midfield wide position. Well, they're not really attacking midfielders, but you know what I mean. Now, Old Man Tom, and I think I'm going to call him that, Sam and Alex Moore have a pretty decent relationship in the midfield already, so they are going to handle those 2 responsibilities. We are going to be using our loanee Callum Sullivan, as long as he's here, as our left back. Our right back is going to be Christian Green. Our central defensive pairing to start things off is going to be Mitch Clark and Jordan Brown, and we have no other choice, but Jake Weaver is starting for us in goal. And by the way, just in case you were wondering about our youth teams and whether any of those players may see some time in the senior squad, not if I can help it. Idris Tewu, Jack Morris, and Stuart Daly, maybe sprinkle in a little Dan Cooper, are the only players who might have somewhat of a playing future when they grow up. However, for right now, yes, they're going to see time in the preseason friendlies because we're going to need to rotate people in and out as we get the team up to match fitness. But once the season begins, not if I can help it. And now it's time to introduce you to the man who is going to be taking the wheel of basically everything around here, with certain little exceptions. We'll get to that in just a second. Jesús de la Guardia has been hired as the new Director of Football at Rushall Olympic. He likes to go by George, but I like to respect his native culture. At least that's what they call him around here, George, because, you've got to anglicize everything. But Jesús is going to be in charge of just about everything. He's honestly not bad, to be perfectly honest with you, for this level. Okay at judging player ability and potential. All right with negotiating. Doesn't know anything about tactics, but that's not really going to be his job. Now, what is he going to be responsible for? Well, we are going to handle our team selection. And we're going to let our assistant manager and the U18s manager handle that kind of stuff for the youth teams. He's not going to hire our technical director. If we decide to hire a technical director, that's going to be in the hands of the chairperson. The only reason that is because it's either us or the chairperson. We couldn't have him take over. But as far as first team staff recruitment is concerned, Jesús is in charge of all of it. As far as U21 staff recruitment is concerned, Jesús is in charge of all of it. U18s, same thing. Who's going to take a coaching course? Well, Jose is going to make that decision as well. Now, as far as contract renewals, I'm glad that I was here because I did not set this properly. We're going to let our chair, we're going to take control of handling the Director of Football's contract because I want to make sure that Jesús stays in place. It's only fair that Jesús is here for as long as Jesús is willing to stay here. In the meantime, all of the first team staff contract renewals going to be handled by Jesús. U18s, U21s, all under the guise of Jesús de la Guardia. As far as getting advice, we're going to rely on the people who are supposed to give us that advice. Assigning scouts, we're not going to do that. Jesús is going to do that. He's going to handle all scouting meetings. I just didn't actually hit save last time I did this. We are going to confirm that. Should I have him handle our team analysis report? Now we'll let our assistant manager do that. It's okay. Transferring contracts, though, everything is going to be a responsibility of Jesús, with the exception of outgoing development loans. We're going to let our head of youth development do that. Now, our head of youth development is here because he was already here. That is Jason Chapman. He's actually pretty good working with youngsters, judging player ability potential, right about on par with this level. We did not hire any staff. We did not fire any staff, although our chairperson did hire some staff on our behalf. All contract discussions are going to be handled by Jesús. Jesús is doing all of the media. We're not going to be touching any of that. We didn't even have an initial meeting with the media when we took over. The only thing, training, he's not going to have any part of. We're going to leave that up to the coaches. I am going to be handling the individual training because I'm going to be stuck with some players. I may need to do some retraining. So that's the only thing I'm going to hold on to, and I'm going to hold on to it for dear life. As far as tactics are concerned, we're obviously going to be setting the tactics. Our assistant manager is going to provide us with advice. Jesús, nothing to do here. Match day, it's going to be all us or our assistant manager or the youth managers, and our assistant manager is going to handle most of the set piece things. We're just going to set up the initial tactics. That is how we are going to get going. Our first match of the season is going to be against Farsley. I am so excited to see what, if anything, Jesús does between now and then. We have 8 friendly matches to play. We've already taken care of one of them. We beat Stourbridge by a score of 4-2. We actually looked pretty decent, even though we went down 1-0. Not going to get into the weeds with the preseason. I'm just so ready to get bedded in. Do I have faith that Jesús is going to do a good job? I have to have faith because that's the only way I'm going to be able to keep my sanity. Will he do what we need him to do? Is he going to follow our vision, or is he going to go rogue and do his own little thing? Only time will tell. You're going to have to come back for the next episode to find out which direction we are actually going in. Let me know in the comments if you think I am absolutely nuts for doing something like this. Obviously, you know that if you've been following the channel for a while that I have some of my issues with Football Manager and the way Football Manager handles things, and the fact that none of this is going to be in my hands does give me a little bit of pause. On the other hand, if you've been following the channel for a long time, you know that doing my due diligence when it comes to scouting and transfers ain't really the part of the game that I enjoy. I love playing the game and watching our little pixelated men run around the field, kick a ball, and hopefully score some goals. That's my favorite part of it. What is your favorite part of Football Manager? Let me know. I really want to engage with you guys throughout this save. We're kicking off the season against Farsley. We are at home. The Vanarama National North season begins next time. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you are notified when the next episode comes up. Jesús is taking the wheel, my friends, and we are going to be going on a wild ride as we try to climb the ladder here in England. It's actually my first English save on camera, either on YouTube or on Twitch, so I'm really excited to get bedded in. I hope you are too. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, my friends, bye-bye.